A cheap and easy way to improve the appearance of your car can be to paint the windscreen wipers with some matte black paint. I don't know how well the camera will pick this up, but basically my windscreen wipers have gone quite dull, gone a grey colour, especially the latter parts that hold the wiper blades. You can see they are very light grey and no longer a nice dark matte black. So what we're going to do, we're going to remove the wipers and paint them. For this job you will need a can of matte black spray paint. Usually costs around £3 or £4. You will need a socket to remove a nut from each windscreen wiper. Alternatively, you can use a spanner. I've typically found that these nuts holding windscreen wipers on tend to be 13mm, but they can vary a little bit. In some instances it will be useful to have masking tape. Due to the state of our windscreen wipers, we will be using it on ours. You'll find out how later. So to remove the wipers, start by lifting the bonnet or hood. With the bonnet or hood raised, you will be able to see the bottom parts of the windscreen wipers. I'm talking about this part here, which is a plastic cover, and the same on the other side, there's a plastic cover. To remove these, simply pull upwards to reveal the nuts. If that doesn't work, sometimes you need to kind of pull the case outwards that way, and outwards the other way as well. Like so. Once the bonnet is up, this will reveal the plastic covers that cover the nuts. Simply pull the cover upwards and then very gently wiggle the plastic cover off. Remove the nut from each windscreen wiper using your socket set or spanner. Like I said, these are usually 13mm but can vary. With the nut removed, you can now remove your windscreen wiper. So I'm just going to fold this one up. Oh, there we go. And it's popped off already. Sometimes you need to wiggle it around, but all it's holding that windscreen wiper on is that one nut. And the same on the other side. That nut's already off. So here are the two wipers removed. As you can see, hopefully, they are quite dull in colour, especially the part that carries the blade. This whole part is very grey. So what we're going to do, there's also a bit of rust on this one as well. What we're going to do, we're going to paint the whole thing. So using the masking tape, I am going to mask off just the blade area, the rubber blade that makes contact with the screen. So I'm going to mask it off up to this little tab you can see there. So only about 3 or 4mm. Right, we've now masked the bladed area of the windscreen wipers on both of them. There was no need to sand down anything on these. They're not terribly rusty or anything. They've just gone dull in colour. If they are seriously rusty, you might want to consider sanding before applying the paint, which is the stage that we're at now. I would recommend that you lay down some old newspaper, do it in a wind-free environment with plenty of ventilation. Little tip for you, if you can, rest your windscreen wipers on 2 little pots on the tops of the aerosol cans that you're using. That way it'll stop the paint on the windscreen wiper from sticking to the newspaper after you've applied the paint. Next step, get your can of matte black paint, shake it thoroughly for about 30 seconds to a minute, and then you're ready to paint. If you've never used an aerosol can to paint before, there's no need to be scared. It's really simple. I've just shaken the can thoroughly for about 30 seconds and mix up all the paint that's on the bottom and all the chemicals that's inside the spray can to make sure you get a nice even spray coming out of the bottle. If you don't do that, it will splutter. All you need to do, as you'd imagine, finger on the spray can, and the key is, I'm not going to press it quite yet, long, even strokes. You want to put the paint on lightly and not too quickly. Don't be tempted just to blast as much paint on as you possibly can, because that will leave an awful finish. Okay, so let's begin. The transformation is pretty instant. Okay, that's one coat. On to the second one. You can see that's quite grey in comparison to how this one's now looking. The spray paint does get everywhere, So make sure that you're either doing this on your floor of your garage, where it really doesn't matter if you get a bit of black paint there, or that you're doing it somewhere where you've protected the floor. So let's do this side now. Still a bit grey there. First coat from this side. Again, that's quite grey down there at the moment. The results are pretty instant with this. Now we go on that wiper again from this angle. Bottle a bit of a shake. And that'll do for our first. Now that we've applied a coat of paint, leave it to dry for about 5-10 minutes till it's touch dry, and then you can apply your next coat. Now that this is dried, we're ready to apply our second coat. Okay, our last coat with the paint can. We're going to flip our windscreen wipers over so we can see the backs and just give that a quick coat as well. The only person that'll be able to see this is you when you're driving, but if it's rusty it's certainly going to make a difference. Only takes 2 minutes. Final coat on the underside. Just get rid of any rust spots, etc. that there might be. These are pretty good, but it will tidy up the little bits of rust that there are. There we go, that should do it. Now that the final coat's been applied, we can remove the masking tape from the blades. With our wipers looking much improved in a new coat of matte black paint, we are going to reapply them to the car. Very simple. Just slot them back on and add the nuts. With the wipers back in place, all you need to do now is tighten up the nuts, which you've already done, and replace the black plastic covers that we removed earlier. Be gentle while you're doing this, because it's very easy to snap this area on top here. They're only fragile plastic, so work them in gently before clipping them over there. You can paint these black plastic parts if you want. I would recommend that you use that you use plastic primer before you do so. You can just stick the matte black paint on there, but it might peel off. I have not bothered to do it on this car because they're quite hidden with the bonnet down. And there we have it, our flashy matte black wipers that have really freshened up the look of the car. Remember, before they were quite grey, there were some spots of rust. Now, as you can see, looking much fresher. Make sure when you reapply them that you put them back in the same position that they were in originally. There will be a passenger side wiper and a driver side wiper usually. As you can see on this, for the X-Type, the driver side is parallel to the black part of the windscreen, whereas the passenger side wiper is on a slight angle. Make note of this before you start.